Guys, welcome to the weekly fighting game conversations where we talk about fighting games and all things related to fighting games. Your hosts, X and Evrae, and today is May 3, 2020. As always, this podcast is free, but we only ask for your support in our fight against COVID-19 by donating to the Association of Philippine Medical Colleges. Check out how to do that via the comments below. So, for today's guest, we have Yung Rafiki, professional MOBA and fighting game commentator for the first franchise-based Philippine esports organization, Nationals, and was also a part of one of the biggest Philippine gaming and creative communities, Royale. He also casts and plays in many other tournaments and events, including ARCHcon. Oh, Yung Rafiki, welcome to Weekly FGC and
Like, what's up? What's up? I am glad to be here. It's such an honor, actually. Like, it was such a big surprise when you guys messaged me that I'm gonna be part of this, but here I am. And what's up, guys? What's up?
Before anything else, we'd like to say belated happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was
Like,
last Tuesday, right?
yeah, it was a Tuesday, and as much as I'd like to say that like it would have been better, it was a great day. Simply because of we could have gone out and had drinks and all kinds of things, but you know,
We all gotta stay safe.
yeah.
It have been really great to have your birthday not stuck in quarantine, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and so far, so good, right, for everyone here. Like this, this entire podcast is actually really cool. Having some insights on like the Cebu fighting game community in general. Like, I'm such a fan of like what you guys do because um, you guys are trying to put Cebu FGC in the spotlight, no matter what kind of fighting game, and like I'm such a fan of that.
Oh, thank you so
That
much.
touches our hearts.
It really does. You say it's an honor for you to be here. No, it's an honor for us having you here.
Yeah, it's a really big honor for having a professional caster like you on our show, on our podcast.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But yeah, like still, like I'm still such a like I'm so excited. Like once this all blows over, like we could just like head on straight to like our play spots. Also, big shout outs to Checkpoint Gaming Arena because I miss you guys so much.
Yes, we missed Checkpoint.
You miss Checkpoint so much. I want to play, but nah. We all know it's not going to open anytime soon. Not yet.
You guys have no idea how rusty I am right now because like I don't have stable internet at home, so like I can't play Tekken online, and I've just been like I finally got myself some like personal internet. Like I bought a Wi-Fi box, turned it into like a direct line, and it's just hell on earth, dude. Because but I just realized how bad I am now because like I haven't played in like a month or two, I think.
I think your skills are going to get rusty in just a month's time. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
A month or two. Like, okay, no, I lost 2 ranks straight, like against somebody who I could probably like beat if I was still like sharp. Honestly, like the dude, like it was a flowchart dude, and then like I just couldn't beat him because like my reactions were bad, everything was bad. So like I had to keep sharp. I wasn't keeping sharp because okay, between you and me, and between the rest of the viewers here, I was actually just there was a massive Devolver Digital sale over the weekend, like at one point, and all I did was just play Ape out in synthetic. Yeah, so I was like stuck there, but yeah, I'm getting to play fighting games again. So I was like, I'm so happy.
That's really cool. So, is that what you've been doing, the entire quarantine?
Hmm.
Or like, have you been doing other stuff amidst the quarantine?
No, so far like all I've been playing is Tekken because like I don't trust my internet enough to like actually download the rest of like games. Like I want to update my Street Fighter so bad because like every time I play Street Fighter in like Checkpoint, I get mauled, dude. I get absolutely mauled by like Crazy Wolf. Big shout outs to him, by the way. I get mauled by guys like Wawa and RJ, like the guys at Checkpoint. Like, and also Master Sonics, wherever you are, like God bless you, sir. That one of the best guys here. Still,
Yeah, the Tekken players in Checkpoint are really, really good.
Swear.
mhm.
and the fact that they can just train there any day, at any time.
Oh yeah, I think like being a constant presence in checkpoint actually drives you all the way up, like as a player, because you're being surrounded by like really good players, and even if you lose, you're learning something because they also share so much tech. Like that's the one thing like I'm very impressed like with the Cebu FGC is they're willing to some people are willing to share tech no matter even if like they're potential opponents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause even it's a good thing because some people are selfish enough not to share just because like, yeah, I don't want you to beat me in a tournament. No, but then yeah, it's true. Cebu FGC are really majority of them are really nice enough to
Yeah.
share. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's worth like it's really worth it. Like every time you get to play with somebody better and then like they tell you what's wrong, stuff like that. Like even people who started off casually like get the competitive spirit. I personally like only took fighting games seriously just about 2 years ago or just
Hmm.
a year ago, something somewhere along those lines.
Oh,
So
before that,
in those years, have you've been just focusing on commentating?
Not really. It was mostly I never thought of myself as somebody who could end up in the FGC commentary. I was actually outside looking in for like the for most of my commentary career. I as much as I'd say that what started off the fire in my commentary life was when I casted 2015 ARCHcon Tekken Tag Finals with Gogoy versus Don's Relic. That drove me like, oh my god, this is so fun, you know. But it started off with League of Legends. Actually, that actually jump started my career, and it it was it was actually fun because like that was a time when I was taking League seriously. I was both like somewhat coaching, managing a team. Like I wasn't the best coach. Like God, I was at a low rank and I was coaching. What the hell, dude? But you know, I started taking it seriously, researching the game and all that, and I think like it helped. It started off like my whole thing, but like as a fighting game commentator, I only became like an actual member of the FGC just about last year.
for real? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Because most the entirety of like once again, it was outside looking in, like longingly. I was so jealous of like the chillness of the FGC. Like every time I watch like a Yipes commentary reel, it drove me mad because I was like, yo, these guys are so good. They're witty. They're witty. They're funny, and you learn a lot still. Like you get to learn this and that, and then they get to play around with like what they say.
That's true. That's true. Since you've been doing a lot of commentating and you commentate on Archon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how did you get yourself into commentating for big organizations like the Nationals or Rumble Royale? How did you?
I think it started off with no. It wasn't. It's not. I think I know it started off with Unity. Big shout outs to those guys. Um, Unity Productions, Max Makiling, and a few others. They just they were checking things out. And I was like one of their go-to guys every time there was like a league event or a league tournament in an internet cafe and all that stuff. At one point, they asked me, "Can you do Dota?" I'm like, I, I don't know, man. I haven't played Dota in years. And then like I decided to watch like a few games of Dota. I'm I became such an avid watcher like at like 2018 I think because I loved like watching the coordination and all that stuff. And like it's just such an entertaining game to watch. Playing I once again with MOBAs I'm personally with MOBAs like I prefer to play with friends most of the time. I absolutely hate solo queue so much. But
Likes to play MOBA with solo, I swear.
Because there's
I
just a fun
absolutely
impact.
hate solo queue. But that being said, I learned so much about Dota thanks to like two commentators from there, local Cebu commentators, Seth Fernandez and Juicy Brucey. Big shout outs to them too, by the way. So what happened was the three of us commentated on like some on a Dota event in SM, and then I think what happened was the guys saw us as like okay the go-to guys. So next thing you know, Unity Productions found a posting from Rumble Royale, looking for commentators for their coverage of the International 8 TI 2018.
Mhm.
And yeah, like, and then out of nowhere, I was doing my thesis that time, and then some guy, a guy from Unity, Nunzio, he just calls me and it's like, "Hey, you want to do TI?" Yo,
Oh,
That's
yo,
such a huge privilege.
amazing news! Like, what about your thesis?
like I'm in the middle of thesis here. They're telling me that I'm gonna disappear for 10 days. I was in the middle of doing my laundry in Mango because there was no other open laundromat. I live in Mandaue, by the way. And I was just so confused because like they gave me 2 hours to decide. And I'm waiting for my clothes to dry here. And I'm just like so confused. 10 days of disappearing. What's my thesis gonna do? Oh my god. Okay, who's from San Carlos here?
Everyone.
Okay, you guys know algebra teacher Alota, right? Romeo Alota? Like,
I can say I haven't gone through
yeah,
on
he's a strict dude, and he was like my algebra minor. So I was like, oh my god, my thesis. Oh my god, my minor. Oh no. And
But
then
oh
like,
my goodness, TI.
oh my god, TI, right? Like I was like, yo, this is just so wrong, but I want it. And then they showed me the contract. I think there's no more NDA because like the thing is done. Like, as far as I know, it was a huge amount for a student.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge amount for a student, and I was like, "You telling me I could make this much money in 10 days? Count me in, dog."
Goodbye,
Yo,
thesis.
You're telling me I could cast TI. You're telling me I could earn this much money. You're telling me I could do this and that, right?
Yeah.
So we went there, and no thanks to the combined effort of like Juicy Brucey, Seth, and me and I, like apparently everyone was so impressed. I remembered people like saying, "Who are these guys? Like, somebody get them contracts quick and all that stuff." And then it even went to the point where one organization actually went up to me and said, like, "You want to live here?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I got to finish my thesis." And they're
I'm
like,
still a
"Don't worry."
student, man.
Yeah, because I was one step. I was one step away from graduation. Okay, so I felt like if I don't finish this, I feel like a bum because like it's there, it's right there. So they tell me, "Oh, you're worrying about school? Don't worry, we'll pay for your tuition here."
That's crazy.
I'm like, yo. So that really meant like we were high value targets at that point. And I think after that, we've impressed them enough with that to the point that it was also like the help of Seth because now he's like he's a marketing associate in Rumble Royale. He found like a gig for Bruce and I, which was the Nationals, and because he decided to stay in Manila like a few months after that because you know it felt like he's done everything in Cebu. He might as well like move to Manila. Because of him, he came into contact with like a few guys in Garage Studios, which was like the studio that was holding the Nationals. And then they contacted us. Oh my god, that audition felt like a disaster financially.
What do you mean?
Why?
Okay, so here's the thing. We didn't know we didn't know when the auditions were. We just knew that we needed money to fly ourselves in. Right?
Yeah.
We found out about the auditions a day before the auditions.
Oh,
And we had to borrow money to really just fly ourselves back and forth. And worst part was the person who bought our tickets bought luggage too, even though we were just there for a while. So it was a huge amount of money. I owed a huge amount of money at the start, and then they told me, "Hey, can you fly back in for like contract signing?"
Again?
Like, oh my god!
Why couldn't they just let you do sign it electronically? Why did you have to fly all the way back?
Yeah, but like formal papers, like, legal red tape, whatever. Like, I don't know, man. As far as I know, it was like, okay, I'm gonna fly back in, okay, and then I come back for Mayor's Cup, and then I have to buy another ticket because in 2 days the Nationals is gonna start. It was like a massive disaster that I absolutely loved because in the end, I ended up casting Dota, working with these amazing talents like Midnight, Wolf, Nathan, Bruce, and Seth, obviously, and a few others. And like, I was so it gave me so much insight on like what professional casting actually is. There's certain timings. There's certain you can't force every joke out there. Certain obviously, and then like everything. There were certain times where you have to be long, you have to be short and sweet, and then you have to time your hype because there's psychology behind it. It's like you guys watch wrestling, right?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. WWE.
You guys know the term ring psychology.
No,
What?
can't say I have.
Okay. So, ring psychology is basically like if I was to, since I'm not really like a massive wrestling nerd that knows it to a T, I could like explain it as this. It's basically like the timing of a comeback, the timing of this, the timing of that. Basically, like when you know the crowd would be hyped up for that moment.
Okay.
So, for example, if it, like, okay, so wrestling usually is like good guy versus bad guy. So, because it's simple like that. It's a soap opera. I love it, right? Like I eat it up like breakfast. So I was about to say something else, but so anyways, it's like when the good guy comes in and the bad guy comes in, and then like the good guy does his offense, and then people start cheering, and then the bad guy does something dirty, and then he starts beating on the good guy, and then when it feels like all hope is lost, a comeback happens, and then that's when the people start cheering again, and then like what also drives it is like commentary being hyped up for it. So there's like psychology both in the ring and in commentary. So you gotta choose your spots. You gotta choose with commentary. I just realized that there is psychology behind it. There you have to choose your spots. You can't be hyped up every single time for every single moment. When it goes down the wire, that's like the most obvious moment. But sometimes you can't get that all the time. So you have to choose like when you feel when you know when you for mostly it's when you feel like you could hype it up. But when you know you can hype it up, go right ahead. It's always like that.
But when do you choose what side you go on? Like these are two different players, so how do you choose which one's the quote unquote good guy and bad guy?
No, you don't need that. You just need the like the moment,
The moment.
you know? Yeah, you know what I mean, like the moment. Like for example, let's say in Melee where like some dude just drops like a very very clutch sleep with Jigglypuff, just lands it immediately and just wins, or somebody chases a person down all the way to the end of the screen and then ends with a Falcon Punch. That is a moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those insane moments where you just can't help but scream or
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like there in FGC there is no clear cut good guy or bad guy unless like somebody likes to like work themselves as a heel. That's like it's so fun. Like Ryan Ramirez, I swear to God, that is like one of the best heels in the FGC ever. He's one of the best like villains in the FGC. A Filipino champ. You guys have heard of him, right?
sorry, I haven't. I feel ashamed.
What? F champ? Are you serious?
So I'm
Okay.
sorry. I apologize. I don't know.
Evo champion. Like Evo champion in MVC 3. Constant top 8 presence in Street Fighter at one point. He beat Daigo. So this guy was a massive trash talker.
Okay.
And it really like there was so much catharsis every single time he got beat. And like I remembered watching Winter Brawl, and it was Yipes on commentary. This was after a first to 15 against him and Kane Blue River, and Kane Blue River got trash talked to all hell during the first to 15. And then F Champ and KBR meet each other in the grand finals at this point. And then KBR was mauling F Champ, and then this was Yipes just screaming, "This is justice! This is justice!" Like, and that's when I felt like I think that was like one of the few times when I really, really fell in love with FGC because there was so much freedom like with both commentary and like how you could act. And like right, F Champ personally like told a few people that because he's actually one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. A bit crazy in like a sense of like he likes to party, he likes to do this and that, but he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He will encourage you, he will give you tips and tricks on like how to better yourself. And what makes him so good is like apparently this dude's so extra. He knew he wanted to be a villain. He took acting lessons just to become a more effective villain.
He wanted to put on a show. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, right? Like it's amazing. So once again, like it's also that's the thing, like there when like there's like history behind that's another thing that commentary has to have. It's storytelling. There's a lot of storytelling because if you put two players against one another, how could anyone be invested if you don't tell the story? Right? Like, what is the story behind them? What is the story behind each other? Like, do they have a rivalry? Who are they? Have they met before? Is this their first time meeting? Then tell us their backgrounds, like what they did, and what makes them capable fighters, and what would make this an exciting match. All of these like add up together to create like to create viewer investment. Like the viewer would be invested, and that's another thing I really like to point out is when you're casting, it's all about the viewer experience. When you're commentating, it's all about the viewer experience, right? If the viewer is not invested in what you're doing, then you're not doing it right. That's all I could say. So like every single time, you always have to find a way to like really draw them in, either through hype, either through your hype, your energy, the stories that you tell, and like your humor could be part of it, the personality. But all you want, but you're only like second fiddle. The main course will always be the game. You have to make sure that they're always watching the game and not just listening to you.
For another question of mine for casting, how do you deal with the downtime, like when it's not like hype or anything?
Okay. Personally, I like to do banter, and then like since for example in MOBAs it's easier because you have an analyst with you. I'm a play-by-play guy. I have a color commentator with me. I usually like pass it on to him, start asking questions. Okay, what about this? What should they do at this point? It's a minute. It's 20 minutes into the game. They have these many wards. What do they do? What should they do? And what should they build? What do you think is the most appropriate action? And what about the other team? What do you think they should do to do this and that? And it really drives a conversation. So what you're supposed to do in like downtime is really just conversation. If like you point out your insights, you do your analysis and what you lack, and you know that your partner knows, then you pass it on to him. It's always a back and forth.
Also mentioned something about like there needs to be a story behind, right, to keep the audience invested in what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
What about for those players who you know nothing about, or basically, or who can't really deliver on certain like they're not the most exciting players and you barely know anything about them.
Like if you don't know anything about them, that's like the tricky part, right? But that's also something you could play with. From parts unknown, who is this guy? Why is he so good? He made top 8. We don't even know this dude. Oh, all I heard is he went on. He's an online warrior and all that stuff. Like you could build him up, build them up. I mean, like to be like some sort of unknown threat. Something like that. Like that's one way to approach it.
But let's say you're commenting on a match, right? And then from beginning till end, it's it's like those one of those matches where it's like I don't want to say it's snooze fest. All right, there you go. That's as nice as I can go. What if it's like a snooze fest of a match? How would you comment
Well,
that? How would
then you start entertaining the crowd, like clearly. If it this is where like personality comes in, and then you start messing around. Personally, I think one of my favorite guys in like, the local scene would be Juicy Brucey. Whenever like a game in Dota reaches like 40 minutes, he'd actually start complaining on air. Yo, this is taking too long. Yo,
Oh, I didn't think about going
somebody
that
do
route.
something. Somebody kill somebody. You know. But like in fighting games, I don't think there'd ever be a snooze fest simply because of there's a limited amount of time.
Mm.
Even then, like in Smash, you could comment on like the movement, how they're trying to fight at each other, trying to find like an opening between one another. You could do that in Street Fighter when the footsies are happening and like they're really trying they're really trying to find an opening, and you could hype up these moments when it's almost like when there's a moment of almost. You know what I mean?
okay. Yeah, the moment of almost. Okay, define that.
Like okay, somebody whiffs. Like for example, like we're watching Street Fighter or Tekken, somebody whiffs out in the open, and you're like, "This is your moment," right? Like, and then you start, and then it doesn't happen, and then you're like, "Oh," and it brings people back it brings people back into the viewer,
Okay.
like into the investment because they're like, "Oh my god, he almost did it," you know?
What if it's like a series of almost that never happened? Never happened. I mean,
I think that's just blue balling at that point, but still, like, and then that's where like honestly, it's a mix of like you got to bring out your personality, you got to mess around a bit, throw a few jokes if you can, like you know, you just go at it, like especially with snooze fest of fights. I think like it's a mix of like hype. You can hype up the crowd by like doing these almost, and then when the almost happens, like come on, somebody punch somebody, something like that.
somebody just lose. Yeah,
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 there is a
like
lot of personality behind
part of
that.
like all the jokes start coming out, right? And once again, it's personality. Like you have to bring out your personality sooner or later.
that's true. It's really true. Well, since you've been like in the professional esports casting scene for so long, and me and Evrae have been casting for like what 3 times ever since we started. So like,
Mhm.
are there any kind of like tips you can give us and to anyone else out there who want to get into the whole casting scene?
And
I think
also, with regards to what if you are casting a game that you're not really familiar with?
personally, like um, I don't like jumping into games that I'm not fully familiar with, like, or at least I'm not familiar with because with Dota, I didn't know it, but I knew it when I was younger, and I still played it like every now and then. And I decided like, yeah, why not? Why not check it out? And also, like, I love TI. Like back in, I think it was TI 6, the 6 million. Oh wait, no, TI 5, where the 6 million Echo Slam happened. I was invested in that.
Yes, the million
Uh,
dollar slam.
the the whole. I was really invested in like the TNC run. I was really invested in like a lot of things. Like actually, when I was younger, even though I wasn't like as much as a Dota player as everyone else that time, I was such a fan of it. Like even then, so it still put itself in there. So the thing is, like, I really don't recommend like not jumping into a game that you don't really know. Personally, like I've done it like once or twice, and I not a fan, not a fan at all. Like
About a
yeah,
game that you're not passionate about.
especially if you don't check out the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like if you do bother, check out the game first. See if you've fallen in love with it, and then like go right ahead.
so
But
then
for like general like tips for casting, I think, or for commentating, I mean, I think it's just really put yourself in the shoes of the viewer. Like what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear from like these commentators, like, do you want to learn? Do you want to be entertained? And like stuff like that. It's viewer experience most of the time. And once again, it's always never bring yourself too much at the front because they're more focused on the players and the game rather than you. You're just the person presenting it to them. You're the chef cooking, but you're not the one being credited. It's the food.
Ah, that's a nice representation.
So it's like that basically.
Do you have any like tips for us, like for anyone who wants to get into the scene, like the casting scene?
I say just watch a lot of games and then like watch a few games, listen to how they do it, and then just honestly, I jumped into it without knowing anything, and I right now I love it. Right, I didn't even know that I could commentate. I was just like, yo, I want to try this.
Yeah, just naturally reacting to it.
Yeah, naturally. Like I think that's another thing. Like it has to be natural, right? The reactions that you get, these moments. That's why like these almost moments need to be as natural as possible. The hype moments need to be as natural as possible. It's always like the drive to commentate is driven because of the fact that you're motivated to have front row seats on a game that you love. Like having front row seats to watch Tekken all day, every day, right? I think one of my personal favorites, nationals commentators, aside of course from like the Cebuano boys, Raf and Kid, wherever you guys are, big shout outs to
Big
you by the
shout
way.
outs.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, because we were the CBT, Cebuano boys talking. So yeah, so we were like the three Bisaya boys there, and then for Tekken, and honestly, one of everyone there was as talented as all hell because everyone had this amount of enthusiasm that you just can't fake. Everyone was just so hyped up with games. We would hold each other whenever like the games go down the wire. It's like hold me. Moments and like big shout outs to Poch by the way. I think he's like Poch Spice. He's one of the best out of the best. Out of everyone, I would rank him number one. And he was like one of the most enthusiastic, and it really did. It also helped since he's also part of a wrestling promotion, by the way, in the Philippines, PWR, Philippine Wrestling Revolution.
Ooh,
There
Yeah,
is.
he's like I'm not sure if it's work or it's actually shoot that it's a shoot that he's like the general manager, but yeah, like he's the general manager of PWR, and like it was so fun, like meeting him and then meeting like some of the wrestlers that would actually watch like the nationals. I got super kicked by Jake De Leon. It was so fun. Uh, but still like it really drives it all down to enthusiasm. Like if you're in love with the game, the natural things come out. Sometimes like especially if it's FGC, it's not all play by play. It's usually just discussion of like what it is, what is that? Like, oh, okay, he does this, he does that. Now let's see what's out. What's for breakfast? Like all these taglines add to each other because you can't just point out every single move. You have to like skip upon skip because like if you point out every single move, you're just
It's just
repeating what's
narrating.
happening, yeah.
you're just narrating. That's why it has to come with like a little bit of flavor, a little bit of energy. You're spicing up. You're spicing it up. You're not just presenting it. You're spicing it up too. And that's what I mean. Like that's why enthusiasm and personality is really important. So what you really need to do is just bring yourself out. Bring yourself out. Like when I was watching the one Smash tournament that you guys did in Checkpoint, I actually had fun that you guys were interacting with the audience, having them every time there was a 69%, you got the audience screaming, and then you actually called them out because like, come on guys, you're not actually caring about the game anymore. You're just caring about 69%. I actually laughed. I laughed at that. That was beautiful.
But
We'll
I
take that
apologize.
compliment.
I was like, I got a bit too into it. I said it way too much. Even Evrae was like, "Yeah, you gotta stop that. It was a bit too much." I'm like, I know.
Yeah,
It
but
was
it drove the audience. Like your general audience was like having fun with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So at one point, you just have to know when to stop, like with like one joke, and then honestly, like that's another thing. Like there's a place for humor, there's a place for seriousness, there's a place for hype. Once
Mm.
again, psychology is part of that. The whole psychology of the ring. So yeah, it really is just understanding the game and understanding like the people that watch the game.
All right, so SJ Hobbit says, I don't know if this question is asked. How do you start casting? So I'm guessing you already answered that a bunch of times. But another guy, Angela Toledo, asks, you simply hit up the organizers and other officials in tourneys to get to commentate, or is it something you have to apply for?
Honestly, like just send your demo reel to like organizations as much as you can. I personally handed to me on a silver plate because I'm good friends with Claire Cordelia. Um,
So
she's
harders.
yeah, she's one of the big wig not big wigs, like that's a terrible term. She's one of the like organizers of ARCHcon. So like she's like, Ness, do you want to do commentary? I'm like, yeah, dude. So it kind of just started from there, and then like for Unity, it started off with Iris Maham, Terraris, one of the best junglers in Cebu, by the way. Big shout outs to him. And he told me like, you want to do League of Legends? You want to commentate League of Legends? Like I know a guy, and I'm like, sure. And it just blew up through there. Like in my case, like I just got really lucky. But if you want to be proactive about it, I personally would think that you should make like a few demo reels of like the events that you've done, even in the local events or like the things that, or you could record a few games and then do your own commentary after. Just really drive it all the way home, and then show your knowledge, show your chops. If you have a good voice, even better. I think that's like one of my saving graces is the fact that my delivery is
Your charisma too.
yeah. So like I have great delivery, so like I could get away with like a lot of things, even though I'm not as knowledgeable as like the other guys. But but still, like it really boils down to like what you present, what you presented to people. So if at one point you end up like presenting your portfolio to like big guys, they'll love it. And also, yeah, that was speaking of like big guys. Did you know I was so scared? I think like that was my worst commentary performance, simply because I was so nervous and scared, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to drive the story because it was a 2v2 tournament in Rev Major. They needed last minute commentators, and right behind me, directly behind me, was Harada and Murray.
Oh my goodness. Harada himself.
Oh my god, dude, I was so scared. I didn't know what to talk about. I was hyping up the event. I was hyping up the people. But most of the time, the thing that came out of my mouth was "Oh my god," and I hated it.
Actually, to be honest, right now I've noticed that's you say that a lot.
Yeah,
Oh my
right. Like "Oh my god" is like is pretty much okay, but like you gotta like drive it home like with other things. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Oh my god, like stuff like that. It's really.
Mm.
I was so scared, dude, because I was like, "Oh my God, Murray and Harada are right behind me." Along with, oh, by the way, like also the fact that other people behind me were like, pro players from Tekken, like Chikarin.
Oh, you.
Yeah, right? She smells nice, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Speaking of like nervousness, right?
yeah.
Like, a lot of casting comes a lot of pressure and like anxiety. Like, how do you deal with that? How
Man,
do you deal?
I think it's like one experience, and two, I think it was actually before I became a caster. Like I did like a lot of like things that like I thought, I could probably do this. I could probably do that. At one point, I was in the cheer team for Safad. I was in another like I was doing Rock of Ages in Waterfront. Yeah, I did theater, and then like it didn't really resonate with me, but at the same time, it really helped me. It really helped me understand like nervousness. Because once you're on stage, it disappears. It just disappears. You just become another person.
You become a showman.
Yeah, it's a switch.
You can I can definitely say that you're what do you call it, an extrovert, because you like to put yourself in the spotlight, or not really like, but it switches something, as you said.
Yeah, honestly, like to be honest with you, like if outside casting, I honestly absolutely hate like the whole like when I was younger and even now, like I dreaded the idea of becoming like somebody appearing on TV, somebody appearing on like on live stream, somebody appearing in a spotlight. I was like, yo, I hate that. Okay, that was like my shit slip. That's my one. You get one. You get one.
That's it.
So, and then I'm banned from the podcast forever.
One warning, man. One warning.
Yeah, like so it was like it was unexpected for me to ever like think to myself like, wow, I'm on TV. Wow, I'm doing this. Wow, I'm doing that. Like I even did TI9 for ABS-CBN, and that was so weird.
That's amazing. You covered
scared,
TI9.
dude. I was so scared because at that point I abandoned Dota because I was thinking, I love fighting games. I'm gonna stick to Tekken. And then like, out of nowhere, hey Nest, you gotta do TI9. What?
So you didn't cast any other Dota tournaments besides like TI?
I did nationals, and then
Nationals,
after that, yeah, I did nationals, and then after that, I did TI. But TI was out of the question at that time. I was just like thinking to myself, I want to do just fighting games for now, especially after Rev Major. Oh my God, Rev Major! If you guys were there, like it was so worth it. Were you guys
We
there?
wanted to be.
Wanted
No
to
joke.
have major, man.
Oh man, if only like you know like if we had like visions of the future, everyone probably would have went to Rev Major if they knew what was gonna happen this year, right?
Yeah, we've heard all about it from Kenneth, and the way he described it, we just like, yeah, we're going this year, definitely.
Yeah.
Not
I really
anymore.
do hope. I really do hope though na kanang mukuan siya. Like I really do hope na one way or another, like it'd be like we could deal with it enough by the time September comes.
Yeah, it's gonna
Oh
be
God.
rough, hopefully.
Yeah.
If not, then we'll have to wait another year.
Yeah. Plus, guys, like you're missing out. You smells so nice.
See, you smell so nice.
I'll take note.
She just passed by. Dude. She just passed by. I'm like, whoa.
She's cute and she's a professional Tekken player, but I never knew she'd smell nice. Nice.
Yo, dude. Like whoever's watching, please do not register me in any list.
I mean, maybe in comparison to the usual insult of Smash players not taking a bath, and then there's a second player who smells nice. Like, whoa, that's a that's a change of pace.
She is the complete opposite of any like stereotypical like fighting game player. Like when it comes to like the scent or Congo or even like, wow.
More than a bath.
Like I don't know, man. She smells like a really nice, like beautiful mother.
Isn't she actually a mother?
That's the point. Still, like, okay, still like on the like on record, please do not register me in any list.
So a quick detour, other than fighting games, your solo exhibit Yeet at Abellana Heritage Art Gallery was featured back in December 2018 in Scout, which is an online magazine site. How was that?
Oh yeah, oh God, that was my thesis, dude.
Oh, there you go. That's the connection.
Yeah, because I'm an arts graduate, or technically graduate, because I still owe San Carlos money. Like I didn't get my diploma yet, but I did pass every subject. So I'd call myself like Golden Boy, I guess, like Kentaro Oe from Golden Boy. I do have a bike, by the way, so I could probably bike around the Philippines and scream study while doing it. So
Cosplay Golden Boy.
so the thing is, that was like months and months of research and lots of direction from Dr. Paul Grant.
Oh,
He-
Sir Paul.
Yeah, right. All right,
Yeah.
you were a Cinema student at one point.
And
Yeah.
I still remember him before he moved. He was like really one of the best teachers at Carlos.
Yeah, like so Dr. Grant, Paul Grant is amazing. So I was trying to make this connection between art and memes. And I know now it's outdated because like these are old ass memes and those are but still back in 2018 those were gold, okay? So like and I accept the fact that like I'm getting criticism if it gets reposted now because it's stale now. Come on. But it was really Paul Grant who drove me to like find the books to connect these memes together. And he was such an encouraging guy to really like put it together because it made sense, right? Like if you think about it, memes evolve to a point of abstraction, just like how art evolved to a point of abstraction at one point. And that's what I drove everything together and then like made these pieces. And what do you call this? The thesis panel recommended me to make an online viewing of the gallery. So like it could be viral and stuff. I didn't know it would be viral. It had like 700 shares or something like that.
Wow,
And
triple digits. It's crazy.
I was mind blown because out of nowhere, Rojin Warhol, she contacted me. She's a writer. She was the writer for that article. She contacted me, and I was blown out of my mind. I was just, I was speechless, and then I started screaming, and then I was speechless again, and yeah, I had to like answer as raw as possible just to really like drive the point home because like if I answered like via text it would look too manufactured. I had to like be as how do I call it
So you're
be
not
as
gonna. Are you gonna pursue any other arts projects, or you're just
oh,
gonna
yeah,
focus
definitely
on
like
fighting games?
especially now like I have so much time to work
Yeah,
on work on art pieces because I wanted to do a solo exhibit last year too but I didn't get the chance nor the time because I was busy playing so much fighting games and like being trained in Tekken. So yeah, that was the case, and I really want to get into like making another exhibit soon, especially since oh by the way, follow me on Instagram art.gatrunka.
Okay, everybody,
It's
follow on Instagram. You hear that?
yeah,
I'll just
it's
right now.
that's my art account. That's where you can find me like making all these crazy drawings and stuff. Yeah, so most of the time it's just I really want to pursue another exhibit sooner or later. This time not within the confines of a thesis, but something a bit more,
Not pressured.
Yeah.
But going on the fighting game, is there any fighting games that you want to get into right now?
Oh, absolutely, dude. There's so much. Oh my god. Like you have games like Guilty Gear Strive. Yeah, like
Yes,
that's coming
the
out
anime
soon.
fighting games are so good.
You have Grand Blue versus. I want to be a Lodiva main because I'm a grappler main. Nobody trusts me because I play grapplers. Okay, so yeah, even in Smash I play Incineroar, but
Yep, you're a grappler, all right. You're definitely a grappler.
And graphs. Let me guess, Street Fighter. You love Zangief, don't you?
Keith and Alex, baby. Yeah, but surprisingly, my character in Tekken is Paul Phoenix. But then,
Oh.
like, he carries grappler mentality though, because you make one right read, somebody disappears off the face of the earth.
He goes through a wall.
Goes through the bottom of the stage.
Yeah, it's basically that, right? Like, so I want to play Grand Blue Versus. I want to play Guilty Gear Strive. I've been such a fan of Guilty Gear. I think I played Guilty Gear casually. I'm not that much of a Guilty Gear. Like, I didn't take it as seriously as like Tekken or about to be in Street Fighter, but also Dragon Ball Fighters, dude. Like, I want to learn the mechanics of a hyper fighter. Most of these are anime fighters, if I've noticed.
Yeah, they're trending right so far. I mean, as of recent, because they just look really good.
Yeah, Personally, like I love Strive because like Faust looks so cool, and I love playing Faust. Like I love the RNG. I love the setups. I love the fact that like he's crazy and 7 feet tall. I want to be 7 feet tall.
Don't we all?
Like Fakum Ram.
I want to be 7 feet tall.
Dude, I just want to be like 6'10" and breathe fire, dude.
Again, don't we all?
So I'm sure you and Kenneth would be great sparring partners for most of these games because Kenneth, as we know, plays a lot of games too.
Oh yeah, dude. Like Kenneth mauls me on a daily, like both in Tekken and Street Fighter. And like when I played him in MVC, god damn his Virgil!
Oh, dang.
Like, his
BC3, yeah.
Virgil is so frustrating. So
This
Unga.
Isn't Virgil known as one of the what is it? Can you say OP in MVC3?
Like he's so Unga, dude.
Unga, that's the word.
So
The most
Unga.
insane.
But then like why am I complaining about Unga Bunga when I play grapplers?
It's not fair.
Not fair.
like Incineroar forward B and just like constantly spamming it.
And slam them. And the faces in man.
Oh my god, dude. Like they get revenge with the down B and just like spam forward B all the time. It's just stop.
Or not even down, he just keeps going up forward beat and just grappling them and throwing them off the screen.
Yeah, and then just clotheslining them if you get like the just frame too. Like it's
Insane.
yeah.
Going off from the topic real quick, how do you feel about the esports scene of Manila compared to like Cebu?
Oh, this is sensitive, like in a sense, because.
Really?
But then again, there's so much reasoning why like in Manila it's much bigger. It's the capital. It's where most of like the businesses and tech companies and all these potential sponsors can actually come in and see like what's happening. And as much as I hate to say it, like we don't have as aggressive of like people who would go and like contact these guys constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have people as aggressive because if you look at Iloilo also, Conquest has like such an aggressive like set of organizers. Justin, the head of Conquest, yeah, Conquest Iloilo is he's everywhere. He's always contacting these people, and it doesn't help that he has connections already to begin with, and he's like contacting people, and that's why Conquest was so big last year. If you've noticed, like you've heard of it, right? And you've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
And like we need that kind of aggression here. Like personally, like I like to think that that's the only thing we're lacking is, to quote John Cena, ruthless aggression.
Hmm.
Oh, attitude era man, I love it.
Yeah, like still like that's what we need. Like we need a little bit of like aggression here to like people aggressively like contacting these sponsors. Hey, we have a scene here in Cebu. Hey, you got to check it out. Hey, can you sponsor us for this? Even for this, we could if we can do this much of a turnout, then we want to work with you more. Stuff like that.
The reason why, kind of like the reason why we're here, like Orient, because want to build up the scene here. Then the future it gets bigger than heck. Yeah.
Like we need that because like Checkpoint, I swear to God, like these tournaments like have a turnout of at least like 50 people on average, right? And that's already big for like an establishment like that. For like the fighting game scene is not as big as like everywhere else, but we have something and we can work on it, and we need like a little bit of extra ruthless aggression for it.
True that, man. True that. Just have to keep at it.
Because like it really doesn't help that like ruthless aggression is like pretty much also the basis of like how aggressive Cebuano Tekken players are in comparison to like other like regions here in the Philippines. They're insane, dude. Like if you've seen Chongi play, it's insane. He will never let you breathe, ever. I've played against him in like a set, and I was traumatized.
He doesn't play.
Yeah, like I too would like to play Tekken Chongi,
This is a 2-player game.
It's a two-player game. Please,
man.
we play.
You've seen Chunky Bears and people like Gogoy during ARCHcon during the finals. Like, oh my god, the way they play, everyone was screaming.
Right? It's insane. Like Chongi loves to play the spacing game. He likes to aggress on you and then suddenly backdash every now and then do a few like back turns. Tries to scare you, dude. Like, come on, go aggress on me. Stop.
And then you do. And then you do, and then you lose.
Yeah, right. Like, and then guys like Gogoy, like, good God, like it's so calculated. There's so much science behind those two players. Like, they have so much science behind their play styles, and it's calculated aggression. And then you have guys like Don's Relic, wherever you are, please, we want to see you play again. I know you're a family man, but please, we want to see you play again. Don's Relic is so like he is the very definition of aggression. He will never let you breathe. He will always be in your face. Unlike Gogoy and like Chong, who have like these setups, Gogoy has a lot of setups too, and like Don's Relic is just
Perfect explanation.
yeah, right? And like I want to see him play again, but like like he's a family man now, but still, like if he ever visits Checkpoint, I want to see him play. And that's the thing. Like the big thing about it is like we have names, we have people who actually have some sort of recognition outside Cebu. If you look at the Dota team at Droid, those are all Bisaya. Those are all, yeah, the gold medalists of the SEA Games. 5 of them are are Bisaya. I don't want to claim Cebuana because like I'm not entirely sure, but 5 of them are Bisaya.
Wow, that's
Like
amazing.
like the gold medalist in Dota. Droid is great, dude. And you have guys like Chong and Gogoy. Did you know like there were actually sponsor? There were actually people saying Gogoy needs to get a sponsor, and other people would say Chong needs to get a sponsor because they're good. Like they're recognized as good.
Definitely the top players. I wouldn't say definitely the top players, but yeah, they have their names.
Yeah,
they're high up there, man.
they're recognized as good. Like hell, from the Bohol scene, Geo is a like at one point was Smart Omega, and that was already something big because like you got a Bisaya boy in like the Tekken Nationals, and god damn, he was so good. And he was consistently like the guy who would probably like beat AK apparently back in the day, like during the PPGLs and stuff like that. So we have like people here who are good enough to play with the big boys in Manila. In fact, like our scene can play with the big boys in Manila. The problem is there's not much of a spotlight, and like we need people to actually make that spotlight now.
That's true. Now we're working on it. We're working our way towards that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling you guys out, but it's great that you guys are also doing that because I want to see it, dude. I want to see it like big, big events here, right? Can you just imagine, like, even in just like a hotel, like let's say Waterfront. Oh wow, that's big. But like imagine like an event in Waterfront where guys from Manila are actually here, right? Can you just imagine that?
Yeah, they'd fly out to Cebu.
From international, guys internationally would be here. That's the dream. Like, I want to see that, and hopefully sooner or later that scene would be developed.
I swear that'll be so huge. Just imagine like holding an event as big as an esports event, like
Yeah.
a fighting game event in a place like either Waterfront or like anywhere basically with a huge audience. That's the dream here for Cebu. It's like one of the
Mhm.
biggest.
Yeah, like,
That-
and speaking of like, what do you call this? Speaking of like scenes, we also got to develop like the other scenes, dude. Like aside from Tekken, the Street Fighter scene, we need to have more players because people need to come out of the woodwork. Because I know for a fact that there are so many good players in Street Fighter. Like
Yep.
I know because I played in EMAL in Neo Galaxy back in the day, and there were so many Street Fighter players back in the day.
The community that I really want to see is the Mortal Kombat community, actually.
That's true. And so I also want to see what do you call this? Anime fighter communities because we don't have enough like anime fighter players.
And not here. There are a bunch of them, like Crazy Wolf. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, that's
And
one.
you know, it's like this. It's like a thing where you know that they're there. You know they're there. They're just in their homes. They're too scared to come out. But you know, there are players out there. It's just about bringing them out and having them participate in like tournaments or even your local friendlies. It's just kind of difficult to get them out though. Sometimes.
Yeah, like it's true. But that's the thing. Like one way or another, people need to come out of the woodwork, or we could like people start playing and then like invite other people to play. I think like that's what starts the community. That's what starts a scene. I think a friend of mine explained it perfectly. Ralph Martinez, wherever you are, if you're watching, like you shoot yourself in the face. But still, I want to maul you in DBFZ, but you'd never let me. Anyways, this guy is like really good, and like he talked about like the development of a scene. It starts off with like a bunch of casuals at home, having gatherings, just really making people come out of the woodwork sooner or later. And that's why we just need people to like see that, hey, we have people playing here. Hey, why don't you come with us? We check out this place. Like and it becomes like such a beautiful thing once people start coming out of the woodwork and really working their way into a scene and having these players improve one another. Because the bigger the scene, the better the players can be.
That's true.
That's why we were so
Oh.
happy during our last tournament in Checkpoint that half of our players were actually newcomers and they showed their stuff.
Right? That's why like Alex, Bully, the owner of Checkpoint, he actually like exclaimed his happiness whenever he sees like new blood come in. He calls them the new bloods or the new bloods.
Yeah, we
Blood.
call them that too.
They're so like he gets so happy. Like I understand fully why. Because who wouldn't be happy when there's like new players every single time, right?
It's true.
So like like just play, and like invite people, convince people that hey, you're good at this game. Why don't you play with these guys? And just because like at one point we have some sort of warrior spirit in all of us. Like I'll be honest here. I noticed like for example, Aramis kid, I know you're watching, but I see you in the comment section. Like at one point he fought like a few guys in Manila and they matched up with him, like in terms of like skill. And he was so happy that there were people who were good to play against him, right? Like because he was like playing casuals with me and like let's be honest here, he's a much better player than me. But like when that's the thing, like it's a drive. It drove me to like want to maul this man. I still want to. Like it's such a that's the thing. Like the more players come in and like they just get more motivated. It's amazing.
So, speaking of the whole fighting game scene, right? Like so here in Cebu, how do you see the current fighting game scene here, and what kind of potential do you see for fighting games here in the future?
Obviously, like I have high hopes because I'm leaning more towards fighting games than I have with MOBAs for the first time in my entire life. Well, no, not really. Like that's a lie. I love fighting games since the very beginning, even though I only took it seriously and became part of the FGC last year. So the thing is, like, I really do think that the scene here, like Tekken alone, like, is already such a big scene that we can have people play so much, right? Like these people play so much, and we could ship a lot of them all the way to Rev Major even. Like honestly, I have high hopes. Did you see that picture in Rev Major last year? The group photo of like the Yawa Armada.
Oh, I think Kenneth showed us that. Yeah, that you
It's
guys being on
huge,
there,
right?
great.
Yeah, that's why like Kenneth, like wait for that level 3 X Factor. Screw you, Kenneth. But anyway, anyways, yeah, it's pretty much like once the scene gets big enough, the scene once there's a scene that's persistent. For example, Tekken. Like, let me tell you the story about Tekken. At one point, there was no play spot, right? There was no place for people to play in. Yet people still played, and that's what drove me nuts because there's so much motivation for these guys. They're so resilient. So I really do believe that like the FGC here in Cebu can go high, can go up there. Because did you know, like at one point, the Tekken FGC here in Cebu, um, at one point they just wanted to play so much that they joined a tournament where the grand prize was a T-shirt.
Is it a good T-shirt at least?
I mean, at least they want to show their stuff, not just being stuck
they
in
just
like
wanna
tech.
play, right?
What
Like,
do
they
you call
wanna
that?
play
Time
with
zone
people.
arcades.
Yeah, they just want to play with people, and that's the best part. And I think that kind of resilience, that kind of motivation, is what's gonna drive that's what's gonna drive this like scene all the way up. And if the other scenes start emulating that kind of like motivation, then it even better. Like the Street Fighter scene is slowly but surely coming up. Like I'm seeing more people come out and play in Checkpoint, which is great. And yeah, like that's also another thing. Like I'm such a fan of that. And then another would be what do you call this? Another would be how do I describe it? Like just play, and then we're gonna have like one of the a major scene here. That's all I want. That's all I really want. Like having these guys in the spotlight because they deserve it.
That's true.
They deserve it all too well.
Like the professional players, they really do deserve it. Everyone here deserves it. The spotlight.
Yeah.
Well,
we have so many good players.
As much as we want to keep going, it's been more than an hour, so let's slowly wrap it up.
That's all the time we have. So Yung Rafiki, you wanna make any last minute shout outs to anyone?
Okay, of course. I think I did my shout outs. So I'm just gonna do them again. Big shout outs to Juicy Brucey and Seth, best Dota commentators here in Cebu. If you want some great English commentary, contact them as soon as possible. Like they can really get you some good stuff. Big shout outs to Raf and Kid. Those guys absolutely amazing. Smart at Tekken and smart at like other games too. Like, did you know that Kid is actually like a really good League of Legends player, and Raf is an international like FPS commentator. And another would be Southside Tekken. Big shout outs to everyone. Sana ngayong Pasko. Andre, big love to you. I'm still gonna maul you with like Android 16 sooner or later. And Kevin 11, one of the best Mishimas in Talisay. Carlito Caloy of Southside Tekken. First to 10, please. And shout outs to the guys at Checkpoint. Bully, we love you. We love you so much. We hope to see you again and see your place again. Big shout outs also to RJ and Wawa for always like checking up on Checkpoint and also being the people to play with, even though if there's no people in the establishment, like I get to play with you guys. That's great too. Also, thanks. Salamat sa libreng pansit. And also everyone in the Tekken and Street Fighter scenes. Shout outs to you guys. And also Unity Productions, ARCHcon, Conquest, and Rumble Royale. Big thank yous and big shout outs to you guys too.
Okay, so thank you so much, Yung Rafiki, for taking part in our podcast. And to the viewers, thank you. To the viewers, thanks for listening. And you want to talk with us in the next podcast, message us your name and topic now in Messenger. Remember that you can donate to the Association of Philippine Medical Colleges via the links in the comments below. Talk with you again the next week for another weekly FGC. Thanks everyone, and bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys soon.
Nice job.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Oh boy.
You guys had good questions. Like I like what the questions. Like,
yeah, that's my question. How are we?
How are we? How are we?
No. You guys were great. Like you were asking